storm show. Ay, it's a storm show.
What's up, y'all? So this episode of Real Housewives of Potomac actually starts off with Wendy speaking to her husband Eddie as they sit there and go over the whole blow up that Wendy had in I forgot the city, but somewhere in Virginia, that she had with Giselle when she threatened to whoop her ass. And Wendy and her husband are just so hurt by the rumors that Giselle is allegedly spreading. Now we gonna keep it real and we gonna keep it honest on this show. Number one, Wendy, we don't want to see you crying now because you weren't crying when Monique was trying to tell you the very same shit that Giselle was doing to her and doing to pretty much everybody else in the group. So you can really save your tears because we do not care. Number one. Number two, you crying so much about it that it's almost making folks think out here that really Eddie is really dipping it into a little something on the side. But I don't really think he is because, like Eddie said, I gave up my whole family to be with Wendy, so why would I cheat on her and mess it up? And I ain't got no family. Even though if they were to get a divorce, his family will probably accept him back. But that's not what we want, and that ain't what we're trying to do over here, and that's another story for another day. But Wendy and her husband are sitting there going over and contemplating it. And as far as I'm concerned, did Wendy overreact to Giselle? Yeah, technically she did. But Giselle is one of those people that you have to nip stuff in the bud with her. You have to keep your foot on her neck. Her neck that got more rings around it than the rings around the Saturn, damn it. You got to keep your foot on her neck. You got to keep your foot on her jaw because otherwise she will run amok and continue to run her mouth. And so Wendy had to let Giselle know that she is not the one to play with. So I'm not mad at it. But I was sitting there thinking like, wow, Wendy, not 4 degrees, ready to stomp a hoe out like Monique did. Monique and let's squash this real quick. Even with the Monique and the Candace thing, you don't have the right to lay your hands on nobody. However, but that wasn't no beat up. That wasn't no beat down. We have seen way worse. It's sad. Now it's sad that we are that indoctrinated with violence that if we don't see blood and bones being broken, we don't think it's that big a deal because apparently it was very traumatic to Candace, her edges and her wig. Had she let that wig go and tried to fight, she might have had a little bit of a chance. But anyway, long story short, let's stop acting like that Monique just did an all drag out. Let's stop acting like Monique is like Tammy Roman. She pulled her hair and she beat the top of her head and Candace had a headache for a week and a half. Nothing more, nothing less. Moving right along, Giselle giving dating advice. Giselle and Robin's podcast. Have y'all listened to the podcast? Y'all tell me, do y'all like it or not? I really don't want to listen to their podcast. I don't really think that they have anything to say together besides being messy. And it's pretty much Giselle talking and Robin on the side. Now, would I actually listen to a podcast with Robin by herself? Yes. I actually like Robin. I actually like what she brings to the table when she's by herself. But when she's with Giselle, I don't like how they are. I don't like how they team up. I don't like the dynamic. But I know those are the characters that they play. So it is what it is. But the shit was boring me through the screen. You let me know if it was boring you when you try to go listen to it. But anyway, with that being said, Giselle is literally out here giving relationship advice, what she will put up with, what she won't put up with. But it seemed like Giselle will put up with a lot. She put up with living in somebody's phone. She put up with a man telling her he loved her and left her the next day. She put up with constantly being embarrassed. This woman has publicly been embarrassed the majority of her dating life. So she actually is no one to give advice. As a matter of fact, look at everything Giselle do, people, and do the opposite. Moving right along, we got to talk about Ashley and Michael. You know damn well, Ashley, that Michael is attracted to you, but he's way more attracted to Juan. He wasn't worried about that baby coming out your cooch because he only wants to swallow the babies that come out of Juan's penis. You know damn well that you know both y'all swing both ways. Y'all just some swinging ass freaks. And here's the thing with that: a lot of those relationships, if you look at the studies, they last for about a good 7 years. A good 7 years of swinging and dangling. But when one party is ready to cut the show short, ready to settle down now, be truly monogamous and not lick and snatch in a porta potty at a concert, that relationship usually don't work out. And did you see how Michael was going in on her when they was in a car? Well, thank God you lost the weight, and thank God you're not fat. As if he don't look like an 85-year-old Skeletor with 1 foot in the grave and 1 foot in the pervert's office. Moving right along, we got to talk about Mia and the conversation with her mom. That really, it ain't even about the conversation for me, because to me, Mia is still treating her mother with kitten gloves. No disrespect, I'm just saying what I observed, and I ain't mad at it because she doesn't want her mother to run away again. And you can still see the little girl in Mia even when she communicates with her. Like, you look at somebody like Mia, she can benefit from a lot of therapy because somebody needs to let Mia know that it ain't your fault and that you are not responsible for your mother and her decisions, point blank in the period. It ain't even your fault that she was born. Your mama picked your daddy, and I'm sick of people out here treating their kids a certain way because they look like the daddy, and now you don't like the daddy no more. They act like the daddy, and now you don't like the daddy no more, and it's a problem. Well, you picked him, you let him get on top of you and screw you. And on top of that, wasn't her daddy a white man? So not only did you pick the man, you picked the white man. Ain't no wrong. It ain't nothing wrong with that. Y'all know I'm for the squirrel. You do what's gonna make you happy. But my whole thing is, if you gonna date out, date up. I always tell y'all that. And you know, did you think he was gonna be different? And what was pissing me off too, not pissing me off, but made me like have sympathy or maybe empathy for her mother is when she said she felt like she was worthless without that man. And I don't care what relationship I am, I just be damned if I ever feel like I'm worthless without somebody. And it's an interracial relationship, I be damned that I bow down to another race. I'm sorry, I'm just not. But anyway, I don't feel like the dynamics will change. They've been in place for too long, but I do feel that it's possible for Mia and her mother to come to a common place of respect of each other as two women, even if it's just to have the mother around for the kids. All right, moving right along from there, let's talk about Candace and Chris and how they fight. Chris is her manager, and I don't approve of it. Not because Chris can't do the job. I don't approve of it because I don't see how people work with their spouses. I just don't see how they do it. I know some do, but you know, I employed a family member for a little bit, you know, and it was cool. And they did their job, don't get me wrong, but they still didn't work as hard for me as I needed them to, right? And I really couldn't push them or cuss their ass out the way I wanted to because I'm related to them. And so at the end of the day, unless you really have a spouse that's really about that money, that truly know how to separate, you know, the home life from the business life, it's just not a good idea. Candace is too sensitive, and Chris is Chris. But he's very level-headed, I give him that. I also notice when they're sitting at that table and they're communicating, they have horrible communication skills. Candace fights like a child, and she's very rude, and I don't understand how does she expect her marriage to work if she cuss her man out all the time. Like, this white man really letting you cuss him out? Do you really think you just gonna keep cussing this man out like that? And he is like any other time. Like, I'm just looking at him like, this is your king? This is how you treat your man? Somebody needs to teach her how to fight and how to fight fair. Ain't her mama a therapist? Why her? Every day we see why your mama hit you with that purse. All right, moving right along from that. Candace versus Ashley at the table. Candace was already in a bad headspace. Candace, if your ass is that damn mad and angry, why didn't you stay your ass home? You should have stayed home. You shouldn't have came there and shuffled up the shit and shuffled up the game. And you done called Ashley big forehead, wide body this, wide body that, bad body this, bad body that. And yes, even though Ashley is messy, yes, Ashley was sent up to your trip, Candace, not to attack you and not to ruin your trip. But she was there to stir some shit. We all know how the producers do. This is the show. And this has been who Ashley has been ever since she has come on the show. But let's keep it real, Candace. You can talk about Ashley's looks, but if Ashley was to go in on your looks, you would be crying. And it's not that either of you are unattractive, but just know you're able to do that to her. If she was to return that same energy to you, she would be on the top of everybody's blog. They'd be calling her all kind of colorist, this, anti-black, that. It would be an issue. So just be careful, Candace, when you want to talk about somebody's looks, because people can talk about your looks too, and you probably wouldn't like that. All right, that's why I'm going to leave this review. I know it's late, but we catching up on it sooner than later, all right? I'll see you guys for the love and marriage in just a minute.
It's Storm Show. Ay, it's Storm Show.